Life can change in an instant. For many wheelchair users, the struggle to push forward is a daily challenge.
After years of development and countless prototypes, we created Rib Grips, the revolutionary wheelchair hand rim covers with built-in ribs for ultimate grip and comfort.
No more slick surfaces, no more heat burns, just pure, reliable grip. Rib Grips, empowering you to push forward with ease. Rib Grips, get a grip on your freedom. Discover the difference. Visit ribgrips.com and use promo code GRIP today. You just found the perfect product that helps with staying cool during hot summer runs. No more gross warm water. Stay cool with this product from Gear Handle. This hydration tube cover helps keep your water cool and easily accessible. Stay hydrated during those long summer runs or even delay from freezing in the winter. Plus, they're compatible with various brands of water bladders and come in various colors. Visit gearhandle.com and use promo code H2O today.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Hey everyone, you're listening to The Public Affair with me, Andrew G. I see someone different every episode, but do me a favor, keep it between us. Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Andrew G, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Public Affair. I'm so excited to be having this next guest onto the show because he was on the show when the show was pretty much grassroots at the time. I was only about a month and a half in. A bitch was still fat. He was still puffy. He was still looking a hot mess express. But you want to know what? So much time has passed, and we have both evolved so much in our own individual prowesses. So I'm super excited about that. Now, before we continue, I just want to go ahead and address the fact that yes, I'm just a tad sick, but I'm professional about it. I'm professional. We continue to go on with the show. All right. Now, that's, in case I sound a little bit weird, I'm just saying, all right? Now, before we continue with the show, I definitely want to use this opportunity to thank all of you guys so much. Rogue Media Network, and of course, Mason is here producing this episode. Thank you, Mason. Truly appreciate it. And I just want to give a shout out to just a few of our sponsors. Yeah, I still have sponsors, Ziad. Okay, yes. Of this episode of The Public Affair, this episode is brought to us by, of course, my boy, David Santabañez with Alinea Real Estate. He is the #1 sales agent in his office at Alinea, and he has been for, oh my goodness, as long as he's been sponsoring The Public Affair. And you know what? It speaks so much for itself because he's so professional. He's so good at what he does. If you guys don't know what you're doing when it comes to the home buying process, my boy David Santabañez is going to help you out in every aspect from start to finish. Make sure you follow him on Facebook at David Alinea and Se Habla Español también. And congratulations to you because he's having a baby. He's having a baby, so congratulations to you and Felicia. Yes, of course. Thank you, David, for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. Of course, to Anika Armstrong with Armstrong's Bayou Cafe, serving the most authentic Cajun cuisine with a wide selection of signature crab cakes, pastas, seafood, and now they have po' boys at the Union Hall location. I just got put onto po' boys. I'm so into po' boys. If you guys don't know what a po' boy is, go check out Bayou's Po' Boys at Union Hall. You can also go check them out at Union Grove. Make sure you follow at Armstrong's Bayou Cafe Corporation on Facebook. Anika Armstrong, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. Of course, the Blue Star RV Services, my boy Manny Guerrero, a mobile RV tech. He can fix all RVs, all those broken down food trucks, when we're standing outside and we're trying to order the fries, the loaded fries, and then, or something, a cheeseburger, and the AC is out, so they're all sweating on our food. Call Blue Star RV Services so they can come out there and fix that, please. If you guys are camping and something goes wrong, call Blue Star RV Services. They will come fix your rig. They're perfect for everything, and they deal with the warranty company, so you don't have to deal with it as well. Manny Guerrero, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. Of course, my boy Jonathan Garcia with JG's Lawn Service. You can contact for all I'm talking about mowing, weed eating, edging, tree trimming, so much. Who wants to go outside and cut the grass? It's hot. It's too hot for that. I don't want to do that. I'm sweating. It's giving sweating. I'm not doing that. He offers competitive pricing and willing to travel anywhere to get your property looking absolutely correct. Follow on Facebook at JG's Lawn Care Waco. Jonathan, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. And of course, to Jesse and Tanya Sotomayor with Chep's Pizza. Oh my goodness, with Chep's Pizza and Burgers, which I'm obsessed with right now. It's giving obsession. They offer a wide variety of delicious lunch and dinner options. Now listen, I love the New York style pizza. I love their subs. They put me onto the Mexican hot dogs, which, excuse me, are only $1.99 on Saturdays. So you guys got to go roll around in some Mexican hot dogs. They have beer, everything. It makes for a perfect dinner spot. I would say, fast date spot for me, if you will. And look out for brunch as well. Brunch is coming. Chef's Pizza and Burgers, 3125 Bellmead Drive. Jesse and Tanya, thank you guys so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. All right, guys. So like I said, did you love that?
I'm more interested in the Mexican hot dog.
The Mexican hot dogs are so good, Ziad. Okay. They're so good. I had them. They fed them to me. I'm not saying they just fed them to me. They were so good. They're so flavored. They're bursting with flavor. We'll go check them out one Saturday. I'll take you, all right? So listen, you guys, I'm super excited to have this next guest down to the show. I will definitely say, I don't know if he acknowledges this or not, but I'm going to use this opportunity to tell him that he has played a major role in the longevity of The Public Affair, in the sense that he's given me some of the best advice that he doesn't know that I've held on to for such a long time, he is a successful businessman in his own right. And what I like about him versus other business people is that he's super real. He doesn't care. He does whatever he wants. He's not trying to portray an image. You know what I mean? He's not trying to be something that he's not. I'm super excited. Formerly from episode 32, he was a sponsor of mine with Cedar Sphere, and he's still a very good friend of mine 4 years later. Mr. Ziad El-Halabi. It's on the public affair again. I said it right because I practiced.
Yeah.
I practiced. How about that? I said it right this time, right? Hello.
Hello.
Now we can just teach me the language and we'll be all right. Thank you for coming back on.
Yeah, I can teach you some Arabic.
Can you really? Yes. I'll teach you Spanish. Well, no, you know Spanish.
Un poquito.
Yeah. See,
Me aprendí español.
Yeah, see,
Actually, downloaded Babbel. I don't know if you've seen it.
No,
So
I've
it's
never done
They
that.
teach you Spanish.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's a good skill for business and
Hello.
leisure.
Yes. Do they teach you just Spanish? Or you can like download anything.
Yeah, you can do anything. And it's actually a good concept because
Yeah.
the way they do it is like interacting with the app. You like read it and then they read it back and you start talking to it.
Oh shoot.
So, yeah, it's like
So you probably use that because I know you like the Mexican girls, and then you have I'm sure you have a lot of
trying to
Spanish.
stay away.
Yeah, Spanish girls. Spanish people. We're toxic. We are.
It's more fun, I think. I don't
We
know.
are fun. We're fun in bed. Listen, and you know what? I just want to say I mentioned earlier when I was introducing you that you gave me some of the best advice when I started the public affair. I'll never forget that night at Putters, right? And you told me to just become obsessed with it. You told me that my personality was infectious, and that always stuck with me. I want you to know that always stuck with me, and that when I think about quitting sometimes, and when I think about how hard this business can be, I always kind of go back to that sometimes. So I just want you to know that, and I want to thank you for that, honestly.
And I'm proud of you. What are you? How many episodes later?
This is 207.
207.
No, excuse me. 208, right? 208, 207 or 208, one of those two, yeah. God willing.
Wow.
Yeah. And to think that you were only on episode 32, I watched that, Ziad. I watched it over the weekend. I hated it. So much.
Look at the setup now.
It's so different.
I wish people were here to see it.
What's been new with you?
Everything. I feel like since then, what was that, 2009?
2000? No. Oh my God.
COVID. It was 2020.
It was 2020. It was during COVID,
Yeah,
yes.
I feel like things changed. I'm older, but still 29, not 30 yet.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
But besides that, I feel like a lot of things changed. Mentality, I don't know. Good things.
Good thing. What's going on with Cedar Sphere? Are we
Good.
done? Yeah.
It's good. I'm
Okay.
trying to move away from it a little bit.
Okay.
I'm building it out where the team's kind of taking over a little bit more.
Sure.
I'm moving on to other things, fencing,
Oh, okay.
car rental,
Oh, really?
bamboo toilet paper. I should have brought you some.
Bamboo.
actually.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Well, I don't use toilet paper. I have a bidet.
Okay, good.
Yes, I use a bidet because I encourage everybody to use. Do you use a bidet too?
I don't. No.
No, you should though.
My friend Robbie just bought me one. In
Yeah.
Lebanon, where I come from.
Yeah.
They every house has a bidet. But
Really?
It's not like a attachable bidet. It's like you have the toilet where you poop and pee.
Yes.
And then you get up and you sit on the bidet.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, it's like two-seater.
And I tell all my friends that they should invest in one. It's like the best investment ever. So during COVID, when you guys were all freaking out about toilet paper, excuse me, I had a bidet. Like, it's the best thing ever for hydration.
Don't
too.
say that out loud because I make money from toilet paper.
Okay, well, I'll try your bamboo toilet paper. Is it really that? Can you explain a little bit about what's going on with bamboo toilet paper?
Yeah. So
yeah.
one day it was like a Thursday night, 2:00 a.m. I was just half asleep, and I was like, you know what? I was reading an article about the new president of Brazil, how
Yes.
they're gonna ban cutting trees or reduce it. So I
Okay.
was like, okay, there has to be an alternative. I started looking, and I found bamboo toilet paper.
Wow.
I was like, can I get bamboo toilet paper?
Okay.
I can. So I reached out to China, started sampling.
Yeah.
I was like, I found the right product. Actually, the product that I found is the competitor. So like,
Oh, okay.
when you order stuff from China,
Yes.
sometimes they send you like the competitor's product.
Oh,
They're like,
sure.
oh, we do this for that.
Right.
They don't care.
Yeah.
They're trying to sell you. And then,
Okay.
yeah.
Did you use Babbel?
No, I didn't.
Use Babbel.
They speak good English.
They do. Oh, okay, got you.
It's kind of sketchy because their names are like Henry.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not Henry.
We order all of our soccer kits from Hong Kong.
Yep. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
we do. And then we're on a WhatsApp group chat, me and the person. And yeah, I don't know. They do speak very good English. I will say that. Okay. So you got the bamboo toilet paper
Yeah,
coming out.
26,000 rolls. We went through the first container.
Okay.
My mom was mad because I put it in her garage.
Oh, shit.
I was like, where am I going to put 26?
Yeah. Hello. You should have got me one.
Yep. This is the part of the obsession that I tell you about. I consider a business owner, having this podcast. I feel like,
Oh, thank you.
It's like your baby. You're taking care of it like a business.
Yes.
You have to be delusional. I mean, like, you have to, you remember first starting, you're like, this is not going to work.
Okay.
You have to, you start thinking that way, but then
Oh,
you
yeah.
you slap yourself and you're like, no, it's going to work.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
For
it's
sure.
going to work. You have to be delusional and then obsessed.
It'll only become as successful as you want it to be.
Yeah.
One of the things that I learned in business, and that was one of the things while I say I didn't really like watching the episode back because I'm my own worst critic still, that was the first time that the episode, somebody turned the tables on me. You know what I mean? And it was the first time that you kind of put me on the hot seat. You know what I mean? And so
Now you have a towel, so that
well, hello, because I'm sick. Shout out to Fat Fit with Monica. It's because I'm sick and I'm sweating.
You brought the towel this time.
I was trying to keep it together, Ziad. Okay. No, but I do. I learned that in this business, and while it sounds terrible to say, but nobody will make this, your business for that matter, as successful and except you. Do you know what I mean? I think that there's a lot of people, and I wanted to get into this with you just a little bit later, but I think that a lot of people depend too much on other people to make their things successful. I think that somebody like you, and I say this with respect, if somebody looks at you, they just think Ziad has it so good, and I can wake up tomorrow and it be that way too. But there's a lot of work that gets put on behind it. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely.
That they don't realize.
It's the journey. The journey's more fun than the top of the hill.
Got you.
You know, I feel like, people that climb Mount Everest, I'm never going to climb it.
Yeah.
I think they're too delusional. They gotta lower it down a little bit.
Absolutely.
You know, start an LLC, do it. But the thing is, if it fails, think about what you learn on the way. You know, like what you learned with the podcast. 208 episodes now, 207, 8. 207 and a half. Right. Because this is not done yet. But yeah, the things you learn on the way it's way more because you can apply it to something else later. Let's say this doesn't work. It is gonna work. Sure. It's gonna. I think you're gonna remember us when you make it, and you made it already. You were telling me when you get pulled over, you're like, you're the guy from the podcast.
That guy from the podcast.
Yeah, but what you learned along the way, I mean, I feel like it's you can apply it to other things.
This has been a super humbling experience, and I'm gonna tell you, I'll be honest with you too. There was a point in my career where I felt like I was at peak. Almost as if it got to my head. Yep. Last year, I will say at the end of last year, I got swept on my ass so bad. I did. And I felt like it was God humbling me. There were people that have exited my life since the show have started. There were lots of encounters that I wish would have been different, but unfortunately they're not. They just are the way they are. I've learned how people move in this business. I don't like it. You know what I mean? And there's just so much. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I don't like, but it's also give and take. There's a lot of things that we have to sacrifice to, I have to go through that. Does that make sense?
You mentioned a good point about humbling. I ran into that as well. We talk about the delusion, and I think every business owner or anybody that's pursuing something they want to do, they run into that. The delusion, whether we're admitting it as like doing it, people do it, subconsciously. And what comes out of that is that superiority complex. You start thinking, "Oh, I'm good. I'm better. I can't fail." And then you have to remind yourself. I ran into that as well. Right. You have to. Honestly, the best advice is surround yourself by good people. They'll humble you. The right people around you will tell you, "Hey, look, you could lose this. Hey, think about this. Think about that."
Exactly. I encountered a lot of people that were taking advantage of me. And I didn't know it. I encountered a lot of people that were using me. Do you know what I mean? Whether it be for exposure, whether it be monetary. You know what I mean? And I guess I was just so lost in the sauce at the time, and this is mid-career, mind you. You know what I mean? Now things have just changed, and I just view things so differently. But I've encountered a lot of people that it was so unfortunate that was what their motive was. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Was just to use me as far as they can get, and then, and then even with my peers today, like I surround myself with one of my best friends dealt with that similar situation, and it was almost as if I had the tools equipped to tell him this is how you handle it now. Yes, just don't be going to beat nobody's ass. You know what I mean? You're looked at in a more higher regard now, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
Because little issues become nothing. As you get, your tolerance for issues becomes higher. Sure. So like little problems are no longer as an issue to you now as they were, episode 32. You're like, now think about it. You're like, oh, this is nothing. But people are using you. I feel like, I don't want to be religious, but I feel like God puts people in that position. This is why you stepped out of the, the stack, and you're like, I'm going to do this. While others around you're like, 9 to 5, or, not talking about a 9 to 5. 9 to 5 is good. People just want that simple, but other people don't want to chase that fire. Exactly. You doing that, I feel like somebody entrusted something in you to take care of others around you. Yeah. I feel like that's just a byproduct of it. Okay. You have to do it,
Yeah, I agree with you. For sure. I wonder, can you recall a time, I definitely think it's fair to say that you have achieved a lot of longevity in your career as well, but can you recall a time that was trialing for you that almost made you throw in the towel?
Oh, multiple times. Recently, I started a fence company, right? I don't know if you heard about it, Fenceco. Yeah, I was, let's say over $100,000 invested in it. Yeah. In the whole, Oh, wow. We were under quoting on some things, partnership didn't work out. Right. But I just sat back and said, you know what? I'm already in it. Like, you can't fail now. I'm like, what's going to happen now? Sure. We just keep going. We keep going. And Chase, my partner in Cedar Sphere, he was telling me the same thing. Shout out to Chase. Mm-hmm. He looked at me and said, man, I don't get it how you don't give up. I was like, what if I give up? What do I do? You know,
Exactly.
like you just keep going.
Yeah.
You know? You just keep going. There's a lot that depends on it, and that was a point where I was just like, okay, you know.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I realized at that point, it's not about not quitting. It's just like, I don't know, we figure it out. There's a solution for everything. Stop pointing out the problems. Let's figure a solution. Let's do it.
You mentioned partnership failing.
Yeah.
Do you think that, was it a friend, do you think? Or like, because I feel like in business too, like this podcast ruined a lot of, and I shouldn't say it ruined a lot of friendships, right? Because maybe they weren't my real friend, right? Maybe they didn't really have my best interests at heart, but I definitely feel like it's interfered, and it's hard to not mix business and pleasure. Do you know what I mean? So when something like that happens to you, when a partnership doesn't work out, do you find it really daunting to move forward?
Trusting people.
Yeah.
You know, everybody tells me that. They're like, stop trusting people. You know, but I don't believe in that. I always want to trust people. Like, it's the benefit of the doubt. It's like, here's the road. If you want to be with me, I will trust you day one. Like, period. Until you prove me wrong. That's it.
I feel that way too. I'm so happy that you said that.
Yeah, and it'll never change my mind. Like, I will always trust somebody until they prove me wrong.
I agree with you 100% because, you know, again, even in this business, I have maybe given the benefit of the doubt for people maybe a little bit too much. You know what I mean? And I guess, you know, I mentioned earlier in the show that you gave me some really good advice when the show started, and I need some more because I'm at a point in my career where I'm taking shit personal now. Do you know what I mean? I'm taking shit personal in the sense of there are maybe people I've done things for that don't want to acknowledge me in public. Do you know what I mean? There's things that I've given to that a plethora of other people get recognition for, and then I get put to the side. Should I be that way at this point? Or you know what I mean?
In a way or not.
Yeah.
The way I handle things now where I don't take it personally
is
I think of perspective. Like, I don't think anybody's evil. Like, you know, that partnership that didn't work, you know, I think we're on good terms now, you know. Lawyers didn't have to get involved. I was like, here's what's happening. Here's where I'm at. I think the best thing is for you to leave. Okay. You know, I'm taking over it. I have to. The whole point of the partnership is 50-50.
Right.
If I have to put the capital, then I don't have to put my resources then. I don't have to be involved because I'm putting the money, right? The money has to be working for me. But if I have to be involved fully, then I have to take over the company now. Yeah. Not the country, sorry.
Okay.
You just find out my
President
motive.
Ziad, okay.
But, you know, to that point. But perspective, I think that person is not evil. He's not trying to hurt me. Everybody has something that, you know, whether he wants to take care, maybe it's noble. He wants to take care of his family. He wants to, you know, start thinking that way. You know, if somebody does you bad, just think, why did they do that? Okay. And then you might find something in them that says, okay, maybe they did it because somebody did them that way. You know, whatever the case is. I don't think anybody's genuinely evil. Right. You know, unless they're possessed or, you know. Sure. We can get into that.
Are you obligated to forgive them then at that point?
Yeah. There's no hard feeling unless you hurt me. Like if you personally try to hurt me, you know, that's when I've never had that happen. Nobody's intentionally like went out of their way to be like, I'm going to hurt you. Yeah. Okay. I haven't. Have you had anybody do that?
Hurt me in what sense?
Like beyond the point of, like not physically, but like if something bad happened, let's say you call them out on something, you think they went out and tried to hurt you, like, okay, I'm gonna ruin his podcast. Yeah. You've had it?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh okay.
Yeah. Maybe that's maybe you don't know when to cut it off.
We talked about that just a second ago. I think it was off camera, and you know, there's just I make the joke so much times on this show, Zia, where if I sit down and pee, somebody's mad. I will wake up one day and somebody's mad at me for something, whether because they felt obligated, like, why are you not, you know, supporting my business, or, you know, oh, he supports somebody that's accused of being a thief, you know what I mean? And it's just so much that goes on behind the scenes where as if I'm not joining the fray, then all of a sudden I'm the bad guy. When I'm really just trying to mind my business.
I think that's part of it. I feel in fact, that's a positive thing. I mean, we were talking about controversy earlier. The more you get it, I mean, you're doing something right. If people are recognizing you whether good or bad, you know.
It's just so unfortunate that's the case. But then, you know, like earlier when I mentioned I take shit personal now, I don't want to be that way. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially because I know how this business is, and I've been in this business for a decade already. You know what I mean? But, you know, there were times where, like, for instance, like years ago, I remember sponsoring some event. Do you know what I mean? It was like something going on downtown. And I remember the person that I gave money to thanked all the sponsors and not me. And I was like, what? You know what I mean? It was just shit like that. And I try to be like, okay, but you did it out of the goodness of your heart. You know what I mean? But nowadays I'm like, well, fuck that. Like, why? No. Why is it only acceptable to engage with me privately, but nobody else can know that you do publicly? Does that make sense?
Do you think it's the gay factor?
Yeah. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do, and I hate to say that. I never used my sexuality as a means to like talk about disadvantages or anything like that, because I've never been objectified as a gay man. I've never been like hazed for it, nothing like that. But I do feel that way sometimes.
I think it is. Genuinely, like Waco demographic. I feel like business owners and stuff, that masculinity thing. Where like, oh, I don't want to be associated with Andrew publicly because he's gay, or my friend. But that's their problem. That's you're a great person. That's their problem.
And it may not be just because I'm gay. Maybe because I know I can be a little bit controversial. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit outspoken. I know that when I drink and I turn up, sometimes I'm a little bit much. Do you know what I mean? Like we all are. At least I'm not out there fighting people, right? I'm just like, maybe I'm a little bit too loud and boisterous. You know what I mean? But
intimidating. To some,
sure,
but that's not bad. That's not bad.
It's not, but
it's their problem that they can't handle real. I mean,
I was coming to terms with that, Ziad. I can't believe that you asked that, because I was like, is it because that?
I think it is. I mean, I'm good at reading people to an extent. But I think it is. I was afraid first.
Sure.
The first episode, I was like, this, but I'm like, it's not bad. I have a lot of gay friends. It's like, coming from Lebanon, where we come from, like, gay people are not like, they're not normal. You don't meet them like regularly, Sure. And then coming to America, I had to like get introduced to them. I say them, but like again, now I have my friend Robbie. Actually I was out with him last night. It's like when I'm that type of person. Again, it's that trust factor. Once I hang out with you, it's like, okay, this is normal. What was this about?
Well, and I get, like, in my community, there's some of us that are not like that. You know what I mean? Where we're hanging out with
They're missing out.
And there's a motive. But there's, a lot of the gays, and I'm going to say this as a gay man, like, a lot of other gay guys have a motive when they're hanging out with straight guys. A lot of my friends are straight men. And I know they won't ever say it. Like, 2 of my best friends are straight guys. Do you know what I mean? And I know they won't ever say that in the beginning it was hard. You know what I mean? And maybe even today that it might be just a little bit hard to, kind of interact with me publicly. And that's okay. Like, I try to put myself on my foot on the other shoe. You know what I mean? And think, okay, whatever. But at the end of the day, I know that there's a genuine love there. I just think that in business, there has been a lot of people in business that didn't want to acknowledge me publicly. And I was just like, I handle shit like a businessman, like everybody else. As controversial as it is, as outspoken as I am, as things that I've said, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, when business, you get here at 12 o'clock. We're recording at 12 o'clock. We have an hour to record. We're leaving. This episode comes out X day. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I handle things. And I don't know. It's just weird.
I mean, it is. Yeah. It's also like the part of it where you go back to feeling used is like when you're on the top, where you start, moving up the ranks and getting more clout and popular, then they come around and you're like, oh, I'm just being used. And that feeling is so depleting.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I feel it all the time. A lot of people like, I know you're using me. I know somebody's using me.
Sure.
I can tell. And I lead it on because, again, I'd like to be in power. If they're trying to manipulate me, I'm like, manipulate me. Let me see what you're trying to get out of me.
Oh, okay. So
before you do it.
You kind of just almost as if not embrace it, but just like, well, let's see what you got then.
Yeah. I mean, like that's my motive with everybody. Again, until you prove me wrong, but I always have that lock in, and I can tell,
Yeah.
But you're gonna get it more. I mean, I feel like now you get it more as well. I feel like now where you're at, I feel like some of those people now they do come out. Now they want to get attacked by you.
Yeah.
Now they want you because they understand it can help their business or their.
I told one of my best friends too, and his wife, I was being attacked on social media just recently, and I remember telling her, I was like, I'm so tired of being fucking disrespected. They got one more time and I'm going off. But then I have to like realize, like, okay, do I want to waste the time either making a live video or making some
You're
posts?
helping them out if you do. Your platform allows you to.
I almost forgot about that, though. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, I feel like I've been losing myself in the sense that, Andrew, that's not how you handle shit. That's not how you handle it. You never had to handle shit that way. Just because it's getting a little bit gamey now doesn't mean that you have to. You know what I mean? I was like, Ziad's coming on the show. Ziad's always giving me great business advice. And it's almost like a therapy session. I feel like I'm in a therapy session.
I mean, that is true masculinity in a way. In a way, if you have the will or power or ways to hurt someone or to you can probably do a shower right now and really probably get somebody fired.
Oh, yeah.
But you choose not to.
Yes.
That's true power. That's true strength. You're stronger than them, and you have to ignore it and shrug it and go with it.
I agree with you, but then it's almost as if I caught myself contradicting myself too, because then again I talked to you about like one of my best friends who now, because he's being a little bit well known and people are like attack him behind the scenes and stuff like that, I always tell him, you don't respond to that. You used to be a fighter. You don't fight no more. You know what I mean? You don't beat nobody's ass like da-da-da because they can use that against you. You don't write back. You
have so much more to
lose.
But
then I caught myself like, Andrew, you about to do this, and you just told him not to. Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? And
that's
so
part of being human,
it's
man.
So
you have to but it's good that you remember and you stop.
Yeah.
That's part of it. And over time, it just becomes the habit.
Yeah, for sure. So basically, I shouldn't take shit personally. Just
Yeah, I mean, you'll know when to take it personally.
Yeah.
I mean, if your family's hurt, if I usually only take it personally if somebody that I love is getting hurt.
okay.
To me, I'm like,
same.
I don't
No,
care.
same.
I'm like, what are you gonna do?
Yes. No, absolutely. I caught myself almost having my first fight last year. I was like, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like, no, but anyway. Oof. But, people, I mentioned earlier that people look at you and they see the successful businessman and they see, thank you for that advice, by the way. I truly appreciate it. I'm going to try and take that with me when I leave the studio today, when I go home and die because I'm sick.
I'll send you the invoice.
Okay, yes. Okay. Look at us. I wonder, we talked earlier about how, you're a successful businessman. We had Cedar Spear, you have the fencing company, now we got the bamboo toilet paper, and people look at you and they see you at the bars, they see you out, and I can remember Ziad when I first met him, he was buying the whole bar shots, right? And he's this and that. Do you hate the misconception when people see the glitz that they think that you had it too easy? Or that this all was just sat on your lap?
No, I definitely understand it. No, I see it. And a lot of people do say that. And I never tell them it wasn't easy. I tell them, yeah, it's easy. It's great.
Sure.
I let them, if they don't want to take the time to get to know me and see where I came from, it's on them,
You know what you give me? You almost avoid conflict by just feeding them what they want.
Yeah.
And to a certain point where it's just like, but it's not going to get confrontational.
Let them think about it. I mean, I like to make people think about it.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to start doing that too. So when people
ask them the same question they ask you.
Yeah.
That's my point.
I gotta write that down. Where's my pencil? We're gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna jot that note down. But when we get back, I definitely want to learn more about Ziad's image. I definitely want to learn more about what he's been through in the last 4 years. I want to talk more about his success and more. So when we get back, we're gonna have more with Ziad El-Halabi. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying this exciting episode of The Public Affair. My very special guest, Ziad, is back in the building after 4 years. Can you believe it's been 4 years?
4 years.
4 years. It's so crazy. Now, Ziad, I definitely want to continue more with the conversation because I love the direction that it was going, but I definitely need to use this opportunity just to give a shout out to just a few more of our sponsors of this episode of The Public Affair. This episode is brought to us by Banda's Hauling Service with Julian and Ana Banda. They rent dump trailers, right? You fill it up, they haul it away, they do junk removals, they do tree brush removals, they haul cars in and out of town. If the car breaks down, they'll come pick you up, and they're offering dumpster services as well. So you guys have those big giant, you just mentioned you were at that white people party yesterday. I know they'd be throwing down, but so do the Mexicans too. You know what I mean? Just rent the dumpsters with Banda's Hauling Service. They'll come pick it up the day after, all right? They'll come pick it up the day after. Book now with the number on the screen. They're definitely a number that you want to save in your phone to pull you out of a sticky situation. Pun intended. Julian and Anabanda, thank you guys so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. Of course, to Jeffrey Monreal with Boyo Boxanati, who just put bass in my car. He just put bass in my car. So I was just bumping Jessica Simpson on the way over here. It was amazing.
Okay.
Yes, that's right. They didn't know that those songs had those bass, right? He also is perfect for LED needs, auto accessories, installation of stereos, door speakers, and audio systems. He builds custom subwoofer enclosures. He does everything auto modifying that you need. He's perfect. Quick turnaround times. Call for a free estimate. Jeffrey Monreal, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. Of course, to my boy Osiel Benitez, aka Penguin with Funtown RV, the best in RV sales. Right, Penguin works all kinds of hours to make sure that you're getting the best deal on an RV. I'm talking about travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, and so much more. And listen, you want to go camping in style. It's already giving hot. I want a nice camper to go camping with AC, 2 ACs. Okay, washer and dryer because I got to do laundry and stuff like that. My boy Penguin's going to give you the hookup, and all you have to do is go mention The Public Affair. When you go buy with him, he'll take $200 off your next purchase. Follow Penguin's cool RV deals and tips on Facebook. Also, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. Of course, my girl Myra Rosales for Strike a Pose Photography, a digital photo booth business, perfect for parties, private events, corporate events, and so much more. It's fun, it's convenient, it's easy. She does digital invites as well, and she does sports photography. So all my sports people, I got to hire her to do the Soco soccer team. Yeah, she does amazing photos. If you guys need a photographer, hit up my girl Myra Rosales, habla español también, with the number on the screen. Thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. And of course, their brothers roofing and remodeling. My boy Jesus Sanchez from Mart, Texas, a small construction business from Mart, but he specializes in general roofing needs and so much more. This weather, we got hurricanes, tornadoes, it'd be hailing sometimes. Check the roofs, make sure your roofs are standing tall, your houses are in tip-top shape, and if you guys need any remodeling done, he's got you as well. Everything. Make sure you ask him about his financing options as well. Follow on Facebook, call the number on the screen, brothers roofing and remodeling. Thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. All right, guys, we are back with my very, very special guest. Ziad is here on the building. You know what, Ziad? I mentioned earlier in the show that what I really liked about you as a successful businessman, because I've met a lot of people in business, right, that really just try to pull the wool over our eyes, which I think is so exhausting as to who they truly are, right? I understand that there's images that you have to maintain. I understand there's a way you have to portray yourself out in public, but you seem to just be really straightforward, shoot shot. We see you at the bars, you're partying with us. Did you ever find it exhausting, or did you ever find it a point in your career where you thought you had to pull the wool over our eyes as to who you were? Or did you always find staying to your true self? Like,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I faked it till I made it at the beginning. You know,
Yeah.
you had to do it. Yeah, I mean,
not me. I've been legs open since episode 1. I've been legs open, and I've had tons of endorsements. So what's up?
it's I like the word legs open. No pun intended.
There you go.
But I mean, I wouldn't say fake it till I make it, like to that extent. But you have to,
Sure.
you know, you have to show yourself as successful. If I'm, you know, my first business is advertising. So like, if I'm trying to give that, you know, get that client, get that businessman.
Oh yeah.
I gotta let him know I'm successful too. You know,
Sure.
you know, I can't sell him a secret if I'm not doing well.
Sure.
You know, but eventually, I feel like it was in my nature. So like, you know, eventually I didn't have to do it and didn't have to do it. You know, and then it just kind of evolved into who I am today.
I would do meetings with brunch. I had a lot of brunch meetings, I would say mid-career, just so I can get, you know, feed them some mimosas and get the true selves out. And there was a lot of great, successful meetings I had. And then there were some where I've never spoken to them ever again. Yep. You know what I mean? It's been crazy. But I never, you know, I just never felt like you were the type of person. Because I'd say, like, God, I met you a long time ago, but since before the public affair. You were good friends with Ricardo. Do you still talk to him?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're buddies. We play FIFA every night.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
Can you tell him I said hi? We only keep up with each other on social media, but I always really liked him. He was so great. And so I knew you back in that era. You know what I mean? Before Cedar Sphere and all that. And I always felt like you were always the same person, though. You were always very kind. You were always just very fun to be around. So I never saw you being the fake it till you make it. I understand to an aspect, but there's some of these bitches.
It's only a persona to like certain people. I mean, with my friends, I mean, I'm an open book. I'm really an open book. I'm so easy to get along with.
Yeah.
You know, I hope so. But,
how are the DMs for Ziad?
Dry.
Are they dry?
No.
Are you in the market right now? Or
I am in the market, yeah. But,
oh, okay.
but I did intentionally. So like I feel like I'm really not. I've slowed down on like just meaningless relationships. You know, so
really?
now I'm just going back to finding soulmate or something.
Okay, got it. Are you really?
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned I mentioned how I was dating somebody for a whole minute and off camera. You know what I mean? And I was very private about that. Do you find it necessary to be private about things like that as well? Do you think it hurts business?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay.
I mean, it's my partners. Of course, whoever I date, I feel like they have to have some, you know, a certain social status that, like, you know, kind of matches up with me. If I take them to a meeting, to meet a client, you know, I believe women, you know, have that virtue. They have that ability to tell you who you should trust or not trust. I feel like having the right woman wow you is very important. So, like, I would want to show her off. I would want to, you know, come with me, see this, meet this person, you know, let me go to the restroom. Okay. Stay on the table with him and kind of see what's going on.
Oh, okay. She doesn't have to follow you to
correct.
the restroom.
Yeah. Okay. So I would love, you know, that's my way of partnership.
Or if you're buying shots for the whole bar, they're not complaining about it, right?
That's my downside. I feel like
Do you really?
I've slowed down going out though. I feel like
have you?
I
okay.
just, you know, once 2 drinks in, I'm just. Whoa, let's go.
You know, I don't go out either, though, Ziad, to be honest.
I haven't seen you out in a while.
I'm in bed at 9 o'clock. Get out of here. All right? I want to be in my bed with my muffins and my milk. That's my thing now. All right? And even I was writing the show last night. And you know what's so crazy? I was writing the show and I thought about a fucking topic I wanted to talk to you about. And I woke up at 3 in the morning and I was like, hey, Siri, remind me at 9 a.m. blah, blah, blah. Siri hears me.
I was still out at 3.
So you didn't slow down shit. Okay.
So this was my first time in a while going out.
Do you think,
I've actually slowed down quite a bit.
I was going to say, though, do you think in business, because, you know, you're demanded all the time. You probably never really have days off. There's always something going on and everything like that. Do you think going out and stuff like that or maintaining that party image? Because I think a lot of people, when they think of Ziad, they think of a good time. I know me and a lot of our peers, shout out to Glenn Cashaw, who needs to come on the show. You know, we all think of you as a good time. You know what I mean? So do you think that sometimes that hinders your business mindset?
It does. No, that definitely. When I drink, it kind of slows me down. My mind is not there. It takes me like 2 days to recover. Now, you know, I can feel good the next day. I drink a lot of water, but still, your mind is not like go.
Yeah.
You know, so it's helped a lot. More productive days on the weekend.
Okay.
But either way, it's a good balance. You know, I just think in 100 years, neither me or anybody that I met is going to be on this earth. So like, let's make memories. Let's take these Polaroid pictures at True Love. Let's have fun. You know, like it's drinking is not fun in a way. I think just being around the same people that you love, it just I don't know, it gives you that feeling. In a way, it re-energizes you to go back and work again.
Sure. I don't know. I'd much rather drink at somebody's house though.
I like to
backyard barbecue.
I've been doing that a lot more.
Yeah, I would much rather do that. I don't want to be at True Love downtown nowhere. I remember, you know, I always reference this one time when it was my girl Leslie's birthday party and we all went to Warehouse and I was like, oh my God, I'm so old. Warehouse. I am so old to be at Warehouse. They were all getting kicked out fighting. I am not about this life. You know what I mean? And it was just our little section over there, just like old and you know what I mean?
It's a good time. And that's the thing. And you probably run into that too as well. It's like once you have a lot of friends, acquaintances, you're just like, somebody's birthday every week. It's like,
Oh
okay,
God,
you tell
I
yourself,
know.
I'm not going to drink, and it's like you get invited. It's like something going on. Somebody graduated. Somebody got a job. Or I'm just like, whoa, okay.
Sure.
Geez, we have to celebrate everything.
It's so crazy. But you know, like even for my birthday this year, I didn't even do like a big giant party like I always do. Every year up until this year, I had a big giant party. I was, make sure.
Why?
Because I didn't want to. Because I just wanted to go to Ichiban and have dinner, and we were falling asleep in front of the Ichiban. We were falling asleep in front of the.
Just sleep
no, but it's supposed to be like a fun environment. He's cooking, and who wants the shots and the fucking rice, and I was sitting there like. Tired. Just so tired. I got recording.
Nervous.
Like,
I tip them before I sit down. That way
do you?
Like, don't mess with me.
Okay. No, I want the sake shots, though. I do. You know what? You've been super successful. And like I said, you mentioned some really good advice to me in the beginning of my career. What is your advice to a novice that's watching this podcast or watching this episode? A lot of people, and we're going to get into this in just a second, but a lot of people, it's like the thing now to be like your own boss. Right? Is there advice or that you can give to somebody that's watching this that maybe wants to venture into that world? And what's the biggest mistake that you think that they can make doing so? Or the biggest mistake you've seen somebody make when they were coming up as a businessman?
Coming up whether it's an idea, I think majority of people just talk about it and don't do it. Just do it. Literally just do it. Start. Tell yourself, I'm going to work on it for 10 minutes. You'll notice it turns into an hour.
Oh, yeah.
Just do it. Just do it. It's how quickly you take an idea and you put it into form is how quickly it'll come back. That's it.
Yeah.
Honestly, just do it.
Okay.
And you'll figure your way along the way. It's not that hard. Everybody's done it,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you feel like it's a waste of time? I know that with Cedar Sphere, you were a digital marketing business, you know what I mean? And so I'm sure that you were inquired by a lot of people who may have wasted your time for a minute.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, let's have a meeting. Let's go meet at Union Hall and let's talk about how you're going to build this website for this business or whatever. And then they don't go through with it. Do you find it discouraging or how do you respond to something like that?
Well, now I don't even accept new clients.
Oh, really?
So it's like, we don't even accept new clients. Only referrals. So referrals now, if somebody... usually like Fortune 500 companies or, hire clients if they reach out to us and say, hey, this person wants you. I mean, our conversion rate's 100%. If somebody refers us and we meet with them, it's closed.
Oh, really?
But back then, it was just like I would sit down. I'm like, what am I doing?
Do you think that was a trial and error period for you?
Absolutely. I feel like that's part of businesses. You start, at the beginning of your podcast, you probably were like, okay, let me try to get anybody on the show or who can come on. Now you're very selective. Now you're like, okay, I want somebody.
Oh my God.
This and that.
I have to disagree with you.
Opposite?
I still just be inviting random people. Somebody messaged me the other day, what's the criteria to be invited on the public affair? And it's like, oh, I don't know.
You could. You're in a position now where you can say, okay, I'm not going to get you on.
Yes.
You can't be on.
But you want to know what, too? I guess, it's nuanced because in the beginning, I had 5 people commit. And I'll tell you, it was the 5 people. It was Timo, who did episode 1.
Oh, yeah, Timo.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Roman Novian, the realtor. And because they were hot at the time, and then they still are. You know what I mean? Not hot, but, big, as far as reputation goes and everything. I remember asking Angelo
I was like, you have a crush on Roman.
No, I don't. Why do people keep saying that? I don't. He's cool people, but not my type. We're good friends, but, not my type. I remember that Angelo Fajardo, who ended up canceling, but then I got Adrian Fajardo. Do you know what I mean?
I know both of them, actually. Angelo is one of our clients, too.
I like Angelo a lot. Yeah, I do. And me and his brother Adrian have been good friends. And I bought the book. I haven't read it yet, but I did buy the book because I want to support. You know what I mean? And so, but no, I did. I had some people with maybe higher end kutis, higher, I guess, followers. Hey guys, will you do this for me type thing? You know what I mean? Yep. But then it's like I'll have a successful businessman or I'll have a successful businesswoman, but then I also have shout out to my girl Rosanna, you know what I mean, who's just a single mom from South Waco who raised 5 girls by herself. She doesn't own and I say this with love because we are good friends. Correct. Yeah. She doesn't own a business. She doesn't own anything. But then I wanted to challenge that narrative that people think you only get invited on the public affair by owning a business, by being a success. No. I want the real too. Let's talk about your struggle. You are our neighbor. Rosanna, we relate to you. We all behind on the bills. You know what I mean? We're all struggling too. We can't put food on the table just like you can. Let's talk about it. So that's what I wanted. I just wanted realism. And I feel like my counterparts, for the most part, don't follow suit.
Yeah. In a way, I mean, I guess different. But you can, if you wanted to, you could create that criteria. But I do see where you're going to the podcast, public affairs. So you actually, you probably benefit more from getting people that are neighbors and others can understand and relate and hear from and understand that they're not the only ones going through something.
Sure. It's a daunting business, though. Just like you, numbers fuck with you, don't they? You know what I mean? One month you're making this much, the next month it's the same thing with numbers and views and listeners and analytics. You know what I mean? That's why I try not to.
Anxiety you have.
Oh my God! It's every Monday. It's like, okay, is everybody gonna like this? Is everybody gonna get it? When I release Ziad's episode, are they gonna understand what we're talking about? You know what I mean? Same thing. Okay, Kenneth Coleman. People like him, right? But I hate thinking that way. I invited you.
When you picked that path to start the show, you signed up for that. I mean,
I did.
I tell that to everybody. Anybody that is going to start a business, realize when you take that right, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. You're no longer forever. You're gonna have that anxiety.
Sure.
It's good anxiety. Anxiety is good actually. It makes you get better.
Really pleased.
If you're thinking about analytics, it makes you what can I improve. You're always thinking. Anywhere you are, any city, any radio station you listen to, any podcast you see, you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this to my show.
For sure. I agree with you in that aspect as well. You know, I definitely would say that I've been inspired by other people, and you know what F me up the most though. If you've noticed, I want you to watch like the last maybe 20 episodes where I would say I toned it down a lot more since when you were on the show 4 years ago. And you want to know why? I remember my good friends are at Soko Soccer Academy. Shout out to Dominic and Ariana, and they asked me to host their daughter's quince, Aviana, who was actually on episode 99.
Oh, I see where you're going with it.
Yeah, and so I did host the quinceañera, and you know, like I try to do that with the utmost professionalism. Okay, there's kids around, I'm not going to be cursing and talking about spreading my legs and da-da-da. I remember a little boy came up to me. He had to have been like 13 or 14, and he told me, I hope that I can be on your show one day because you interviewed a soccer player. Shout out to George De Leon, Wormy. And you interviewed a soccer player, and I want you to interview me one day. Oh my God, Ziad, I went home and cried. I was like, because
gave me goosebumps.
No, because it's like kids are watching the show, and you know, like you can't be like, I don't get to choose who picks it. I can put that it's not for kids all day, but kids have access to the internet. Do you know what I mean? And so it effed me up, and then it made me start realizing, because now again I sponsor my best friend in the whole world is Coach Mauro Maldonado with the Soko soccer teams, and he has a plethora of kids that he coaches, and you know, some of them watch the show too, but one of them commented on my reel. You know what I mean? I have to like now watch how I am, because these kids are inspired by us, whether we want to admit it or not, whether we signed up for it or not. That's just the way it is. We're influencers. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And so it made me, it kind of, while I still want to be true to myself and I'm still, you know, outrageous Andrew G, I can't be on every single episode talking about sleeping with Ziad. Like I just can't, you know what I mean? Like I can't do that.
Have you thought about like making some episodes like rated R? Or tagging them in some sort of way. That way, you do your due diligence.
But we have.
Okay.
That's the thing though. We have, like, I have underage guests. Like I had Jams, I've had Santos, I've had Aviana, I've had kids on the show, and you know, we make it to where just, you know, everybody can view it. But then when you're talking about an episode that I had with the Soko Soccer Academy that George De Leon was on, I made that not for kids. And kids were able to access it. Do you see what I'm saying? So we can't stop that. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate to say, but I didn't realize how much of an inspiration that I was to kids too. I didn't realize that there were kids. Like my girl Leslie, I'm sorry, I'm talking too much, Ziad, because you put me in my girl Leslie, her son Junior, he wants to be a little YouTuber too. So every time he sees me now, we make little YouTube clips, and he's like, okay, come on, let's do my video. Okay, show me hashtags. Blah, blah. That's just the way it happened. And I'm grateful for that. You know what I mean? Because I love them, but it's just like, okay, this is where we're at now. You know what I mean?
It's ever evolving, man. This is why that anxiety to everything, it's always making you say, okay, how can I better this? How can I do it? And now you have a bigger audience, you know?
Yeah.
First you started limited. Let me do it this way, rated R. Now you're thinking, okay, let me go broader.
Sure. You just, at some point, and then nobody wants to see me be damn near pushing 40 and still talking about sleeping with airmen. Like, that's not cute no more. It's really not. I learned a lot about myself in the last 4 years. Let's put it that way. Do you think business ownership is for everybody, Ziad? You know, we mentioned earlier in the show that a lot of people, that's like the thing now. That's the fad. Everybody wants to be their own boss. You know what I mean? Do you think that that's for everybody?
I don't think so. You have to, you know, understand you're taking care of others. That's one thing, you know. Before I get paid, I have to make sure everybody that works with me gets paid. Sure. They're more important, my vendors, everybody. So I feel like if you don't have that, don't take that on. And because I see a lot of people close down doors, or, you know, employees not paid, stuff like that. You know, you have to, if you start it, you have to be able to realize that when you take that right, you're taking care of others too. Like you understand now that kids are watching. So like if you didn't have that purpose, or if you're only chasing views, you wouldn't have cared.
Right.
So other people wouldn't. Other people would do the show and look, oh, likes, views. You know, I don't care. I don't care about kids, you know. But that's why I think it's for certain people that have that vision of taking care of others.
You always say the right things. It's like you're in my mind, because that's exactly what it wasn't worth it.
Yep.
It's not worth, like, okay, if you're not going to fuck with it anymore because it's not as controversial, then that's fine. Like, I'm an inspiration now.
I mean, you have to stand for something, and you realize when you stand for more things, you become successful.
Okay.
Because you have the identity. I mean, you have that identity versus not having it. So this is what I mean by some people are not meant for it.
Okay.
Because they're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely. And then the things that people do now just for attention is like so wild. Let's not get into that, please, because that's another episode. Do you find yourself being critical with your peers? Because, I always felt like when we had a conversation, you know what I like, we haven't, we've spoken in passing and stuff like that, but we haven't like had a sit down like this in 4 years since the public affair. And, I always say that your advice is always very critical and it's something that I can take constructively. Do you find yourself doing that with all your peers, and do you think they take it as constructively, or do you think that some people get offended?
Honestly, I learn more from my friends that don't have businesses in that balance than I do, because I've tried. When I first started, I was like, this is cool.
Yeah.
Ricardo, let me help you start a business. My brother, let's do this, let's do that. But then I realized, they chose a different path, but they're still hard workers. They still earn good money, but they're happy. They're content. Like, it's okay, and that's the balance. When I'm with Ricardo, I'm with Cody or Brittany or my brother or Sarah, my sister-in-law, I'm just in a different zone. Like, I'm relaxed. I'm no anxiety. It's like I'm around them. I'm good. Okay. And sometimes I wish I picked that life, Sometimes I wish where they're at, but no, I don't push that on them. But if they're ever ready, well, I'm ready.
You're in.
Yep.
Okay. You have to be hard on them too. I learned tough love. Shout out to my bro Mauro Maldonado. He makes me cry all the time. He does, the motherfucker. He makes me cry, but I would do everything for that guy and his family. Shout out to them. You know what? We're running out of time and I hate this, right? And I'm so happy that you came on the show. You know what I really, I just want to give you props to on your physical health looks amazing. You do. You know what I mean? You're finding time to take care of yourself, which I have found to be very important as well. Know what I mean? I've definitely lost some weight since I've seen you 4 years ago. So, a lot of people use the fact that they are working or starting a business as an excuse to not do so, but you seem to be finding time to do so. Do you know what I mean? How important is your physical health over your mental health?
It's very important. I feel like you're confident. I mean, I'm very scientific when it comes to health. I feel like if you're going to do business, you have to be good with health. Mm-hmm. One, it's your image. If somebody sees you and you're in good shape, well, they understand you have discipline. They understand you're somebody that, manages money well. Okay. I don't really manage money well all the time, but, don't see me.
Don't get me started there, please.
Don't see me at Trojans. But, within reason, of course, I budget.
Shout out to the team at Trojans.
It all goes in that circle, Your body's, that's all we have, That's literally all I have.
Sure.
What's the point of having money, being 40 or 50 and struggling or back pain, so I take care of it, and it brings me mentally. It's like, you've left the gym, that feeling you get leaving the gym, you're like, whoa, it's accomplishing. I did something. Yeah,
it's accomplishing. And you know what? I agree with you there, because I didn't want to be your stereotypical fat, grubby radio host man or podcast man. I didn't. I wanted to be fit and I wanted to look good. My DMs are still dry, but
you've done a good job, man.
Thank you.
When you post those pictures before and after, it's like, wow.
I'm still my own worst critic with the weight, though. I still feel like a fat ass. I do. I've been slacking just a tad, but I'm,
SoCo, is that where you go?
I started at SoCo, and now Dominic is, SoCo Soccer Academy is more, they're more, like they're doing day camp, you know what I mean, and childcare, and hopefully he'll get the gym back up soon, coming soon, hopefully. But he definitely, Dominic was my grassroots. I always give credit, and I will do everything for that guy, because he doesn't realize how much he changed my physical health, which messed with my mental health.
He pushed you into it?
It was like, all you have to do is tell people that SoCo Soccer Academy exists, and I'll train you. And I just remember I couldn't do anything, and everybody around me was able to do all the workouts except me. I couldn't even run around the building. You know what I mean? So he definitely played a major part in my weight loss and my physical health. And then now I'm working out with FatFit with Monica Bergstein.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, who was on the show. And so I'll go to her sporadically as well. I haven't been going as often because, bitch is busy, which contrary to what I just asked you, but, and sick for that matter. But, I've been working out with her too. So, yeah. And then, me and my friends, we just do it together. So, and Jim. You know what, Ziad, I had such a good time having you on the show. Can you talk to us? What's next for you? I mean, you taking a bit of a break from Cedar Sphere, right? So marketing, but you mentioned you got the bamboo toilet paper, and what else we got going on? The fencing,
bamboo toilet paper,
yes,
a machine cave. It's automotive online. It's e-commerce. It's not really local or anything like that. But the biggest one I'm working on is called Neighbors Own. Oh, so it's Neighbors Own. So it's going to be like a real estate concept where, let's say, we find an apartment complex that we want to buy.
Yeah.
I don't want to put all the capital down. Let's say it's $1 million. Mm-hmm. Instead of me putting all the capital for the down payment, let's say, $250,000 or whatever we need to do to make it profitable, I'll pool in $100,000 from my pocket.
Okay.
And then I'll find, let's say, locally. They have to have lived in a certain county for 6 months.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to you, say, Andrew, you want to invest $5,000.
Okay.
I'll reach out to John, anybody I know. It could be 100 people to raise the other down payment, or and then we acquire that property. I feel like it's going to give power back to the community.
Yeah,
and people can profit. Let's say you put in $10,000 and that gives you 5%.
Yeah,
and that property is now profitable. Or you're going to get a check cut out to you every month. Within 2-3 months. Starting because it's profitable.
Oh,
I feel like it's going to give power back to the community.
Sure.
We need it. I feel like that way hedge funds are buying your neighborhood, I agree. So Neighbor Zone is the biggest thing I'm working on next.
I love that. But where can we buy the bamboo toilet paper? You mentioned that $20,000.
Bamboo.com.
Bamboo?
Yeah, Bamboo.
Bamboo.
BAMPOOH.
Oh my God. Okay, yeah. And I'm
pretty
gonna
good name.
Yeah, I got you. It's not gonna rip when I'm wiping, right?
Actually, believe it or not, a lot of our clients are gay. Really?
Oh,
yeah, because they like the no lint. They like it's soft, eco-friendly. I didn't know that until somebody reached out and they thanked us.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, I didn't know lint was an issue for y'all.
Oh yeah,
it is.
I don't want to talk.
I'm like,
that goes into a conversation that we're gonna leave. For the. That's why I tell all my friends they should just buy a bidet. But anyway, Ziad, thank you so much for coming on to the Public Affair. Anytime I'm always rooting for you, and I just again want to use this opportunity to thank you again for all the great advice that you've given me. I've really held on to it for all these years. I'm going to continue to do so. So I truly appreciate you.
Set the calendar for 4 more years. Huh? We'll do it again.
We'll see where we're at in 4 more years. Hopefully, I'm on somebody's network television. But we'll see. Okay. Now, you guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Public Affair. I've got more on the way, of course, to my very special guest, Ziad El-Halabi. Thank you. Yes, I love it. Thank you so much for coming on. Now, before we go, I definitely going to use this opportunity to give a shout out to just a few more of the sponsors of this episode of the Public Affair. Of course, we mentioned Soko Soccer Academy with Dominic and Ariana Gutierrez. They offer team, small group, and individual skills training and elite skills training to make your kids superb star athletes, which I think are both beneficial for discipline both on and off the field. If you guys need professional training, you can hit up my boy George De Leon and he'll get that taken care of. Soko Kids is also a daycare service that they're offering now. Top of the line daycare service, so make sure you guys get your kids involved. I feel like it's super beneficial. You know what I mean? So that way they're not sitting at home, not doing nothing all day, all right? The Public Affair remains a very proud sponsor of the Soko soccer teams, coached by my very best friend, Coach Mauro Maldonado. I'm so proud of you and your team of coaches and the kids for all the accomplishments that you guys are doing in the Public Affairs, here to support you guys every step of the way. So you guys, thank you so much for all you do for me in the show. Of course, to Jeff Davis, the Texas car plug at University Mazda Kia. You can hit him up to get the best deals on brand new or pre-owned vehicles. No credit, bad credit. He's got you. Don't worry about it. He's going to make sure he does what he can to get you rolling off with a car, okay? Well, credit's not what's going on right now, okay? Hit him up for the best deals. Hit him up for a consultation and an appointment, and get with him and meet with him ASAP. To Jeff Davis, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. Of course, the Elite Barbershop with my boy Sid Rodriguez, located on Hewitt Drive. You can call the number on the screen or download the Squire app, or walk-ins are welcome as well. He has Marcus Guerrero, Chris Reyes, Santos Cordova, David Rodriguez, Isaac Chavez, Clint Fletcher, Isai Reyes, Sam Ceballos, and Kyle Berry, making you look as snackish as I have for more than 208 episodes of The Public Affair. They've all cut my hair. They're all phenomenal barbers. I trust every single one of them. And Sid has been the longest running sponsor of the Public Affair, so I truly appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much for all you do for me in the show. Of course, the Junior Banda with Fat Boy Michelada Botana, who provides the best Michelada Botana plates for yourself or for a party. Also offering aguachile, ceviche, chamoy candy, hot Cheeto pickle plates, and so much more. You can book now for an event, message, place your order, or if you need a delivery, if you ask nicely, I'm sure he'll do it. He'll do it for you. The ceviche is everything. Yeah, it's so everything. Remember, get the best and not the rest with Fat Boy Michelada Botana. Thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of the Public Affair. And of course, to Hummingbird Party Backdrops and Decor, my girl Ana Limones. Call for all party decor, including beautiful balloon props, giving an extra flair to your party or event with a number of wooden backdrops and so much more. The wooden backdrops are custom made by the husband. I learned that on the show. They're phenomenal. They're amazing. They're beautiful. They're gorgeous. She's got you. Call the number on the screen. Say habla español. Hummingbird Party Backdrops and Decor. Thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. All right, guys, thank you again for watching this episode of the show. Ziad, best wishes to you and everything that you've got going on in your business. I truly appreciate it. Any way that I can be involved, you just call me. Even if you just need a face. Just not today because, it's getting sick. But don't forget to always keep it between us.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production. Are you a podcaster? Let's talk podcast hosting. Are you tired of your current podcast host? Need real support in a community that gets it? At Rogue Media Network, we offer top-tier podcast hosting services to help you thrive. From hosting and distribution to dedicated support, we've got you covered. Starting as low as $25 a month. Join our community of passionate podcasters today. Contact us at hello@roguemedianetwork.com.